Hi, Travis with Splunk here. Wanted to continue with a series of videos around metrics data and getting that into Splunk. I've had videos where I show off IT Essentials Work, how to install it and how to use it. That's a free app that you can go download right now and start using it. I highly recommend for anybody new with Splunk or an organization and they're wanting to start doing more of that infrastructure monitoring, understanding CPU, memory. Get IT Essentials Work, get it installed, learn how to get the data in. Because once you start lighting up IT Essentials Work and you're ready to take that next step and open up the other features that IT Service Intelligence provides, you can do that. I'll call it ITSI for short sometimes, but IT Service Intelligence is one of the premium apps that Splunk offers where you can then start grouping, like a logical grouping of indicators as a service. So it's just not, CPU being used for a computer. It might be CPU memory and disk space that could, affect if there's really a problem. We're not, before we can get to any of that, got to get the data in. We've got to then normalize the data. Then we've got to start organizing that data. And I just did a video recently where I showed you how to build entity types and use discovery searches to then correlate those or attach those entities to an entity type. And if you haven't seen that video, I recommend, checking out the rest of the videos on my YouTube channel and looking at that. But here I have pulled up Entity Overview, which is something that you'll be able to see in IT Essentials Work, but I've upgraded this environment. This is my home lab. And I have 5 entity types that do have entities. One of them being part of that video I did where I created this entity type, created the discovery search, and it's been bringing in the entity. However, unlike my Unix and Linux add-on here or Windows or even the K8 stuff, I have vital metrics. So I can click on K8's pod and I can look at the average CPU, the average file system usage or memory usage, and then look at each one of the pods and see that information that goes along with that. With what I stopped in that other video with the Meraki sensors and don't, I mean, this is more of a don't get hung up on that I'm looking at Meraki data because Cisco and Splunk do have content packs. ITSI and IT Essentials Work does have content packs like the Windows and the Unix add-on. I didn't create any of the vital metrics, the dashboards when you drill down on a host name here. I didn't build any of this. This was part of a content pack. And I'm hearing that there is going to be content packs created for Meraki and Cisco devices. But at this time, there's not. Now, there is a there is multiple apps and add-ons to help bring the data in and look at it in Splunk Core. But when we start talking about metrics and IT service intelligence and IT essentials work, that's where we've got, to use our content packs when available. And I can click on configuration, look at data integrations. And we do have a lot of way to bring different data sources in. App Dynamics, SolarWinds, here's the Windows and Unix one I'm using. And then if I come over here to content library, which I believe I covered this in another video, but I'll do it again here. Here we can, there's a content pack for Cisco Thousand Eyes already out there. So Cisco and Splunk is already working to bring easier integration with devices, data sources that you may have. There is a lot of good content packs out here, even for App Dynamics or the Splunk Cloud, the Observability Cloud suite of. This is not what this video is for today, or hopefully hopefully you've been following my series. What I'm going to do today is talk about, I've got this, and I'm going to go ahead and hide the ones I don't have any entities. I've got an entity type. I'm using Meraki sensor data, which is basically an API call that I've created that runs every 5 minutes, queries Meraki Cloud, and brings down information. And then I used in that script, I used it to help flatten the JSON files so I can get good metrics data, which you'll see here in a bit. But I haven't done anything with it. it just says active. If I click on one of these, I don't have any vital metrics. I mean, I just blank. Not really useful right now. So let's make it useful. And how we're going to do that is creating vital metrics. I'm going to start there. I'm not going to get too much further than that for this video because I don't want these videos to be like 8 hours long, maybe just 20, 30-minute videos. Let me jump over to documentation and show you more information about entity types. So the first thing we did was create an entity type, and then we created discovery search. Now we're at that. Let's add vital metrics to your entity type. I know here it's, click add metric. You're going to see me run through this. One thing I still need to understand a little bit more. This says optional. I'm not really sure it is for how I want the data to be displayed. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And there may be just something that I'm doing wrong that I'll have to look into. But I'll show you here in a second. But first, let's go look at the data. And if you haven't searched, even seen the other videos I have about searching the data, I'm going to cover that real quick right now with commands. Splunk has two different indexes that you can have, types of indexes. One is an events index, one is a metrics index. So when you're searching metric, data that's been put into a metrics type index, you can't just do index equals. You have to use mstat, mcatalog, or mpreview. That's three commands that I'm going to show here real quick, which mpreview allows me to get a preview of that data set. I can actually click 7 more fields here and start, seeing other fields that are available. Now, mcatalog, which I believe is the next tab, is, I'm doing a values metric name, so I can see the metric name that is available. Why is this important? Because I can use these as my vital metrics. If I want battery humidity, I want that many vital metrics, or maybe I just want a couple of them. That's where you'll have to decide for your environment. And when you're looking at that, raw data, what is the vital metrics? I'm not sure how many we can have. Maybe I'll just add all 7 and see how it looks. It might be better only have 2 or 3. That's going to be up to you and your team, and your mileage may vary. So the last thing is an mstats command that I'm doing, and I've already built these out to save a little bit of time, where I'm doing an average temperature Fahrenheit as value where the data exists. And there's important, as value. Why did I call it value? You go back to the documentation because it says right here, specifies the value of the metric. So it's telling you that you're going to need that. Back to the search. I'm just saying where the data is, index Meraki metrics, as I created that last time. Now the span auto, that is so I can have a timeline, because if I rerun the search, it's going to give me one value. And then I don't have a visualization, but I want that. So I'm going to put span equals, and you don't have to use auto. You can say, 2 minute, 1 minute, 1 hour, depending on your search. But I'll leave it for auto right now. And here you can see I have, instead of me taking the average over the last 60 minutes and combining it into one, since I put it on auto, it sees that there is 3 different. It only checks, I think, this data every 20 minutes. Or I know I'm running the script every 5 minutes, but Meraki actually is only pulling the data from the actual device every 20 minutes. So that's what this represents. I mean, I could adjust my script to only run every 20 minutes to get the data. I'm going to leave it at 5 because, if the devices come in at different times. And I think that script runs every 5 minutes to look past the previous 5 minutes, so it's not duplicating the data. If you all are following this and you're like, man, I'd really like to see that, how I built that script, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to get that done. But here, I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to forewarn you right now, this isn't going to work the way I want it to work. I'm missing one piece. But I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say configuration. I'm looking at the entity type, but I need to go to configuration, entity management, and then from here, once it comes up, I'm going to go entity type. I really should one day give that server more resources or do something as my home lab, so I'm overworking it. That's why it's got a little red exclamation point up there. But here on entity types, I can go to Meraki sensors, and I'm going to say edit. There's the name. I can give it a description, and then there's vital metrics. I'm not going to touch, like I said, the rest of this. I'm probably going to go into and show you how to build a dashboard that can work with this, but that's going to be a whole nother video. But first things first, we need to add a vital metric. I'm going to click the plus sign here. We're going to give it a name. I was playing around with it earlier. I believe the first one I was doing was Fahrenheit. At this point, you may be going, where is it where I enter this search in? If I hit save, what's it going to do? It doesn't do anything. You have to expand this. It took me a second once, a long time ago, to figure that out. But now I've got the vital metric. I've got the name of it, but I don't have any data yet. So this is where we're going to plug in that search. And this is where I'm going to have that as value. If I delete that as value, I'll even show you. I'll run this search. And since it doesn't have that as value, it doesn't know what data you're wanting to use for this preview. That's why we need that value. I'm going to rerun that search. And now I should have data. The one thing I want you to notice, 0 entities. In the last hour, I know there's entities. There's data. Why does it say 0? And if I wanted to, I could put a custom unit of measurement here. Maybe take that the degrees for Fahrenheit or Celsius. I have both of them. I'm probably going to put both of them in there. I play around with a lot of 3D printing, so I'm getting used to Celsius being where I'm at. But here, if I click save, or is that? And if I click save, you get an error message. Vital metrics with an entity type only require one key metric Meraki sensor. I can click learn more. It's basically going to take you back to this document. This is one of those occasions that I'm like, what is it really telling me there? What I figured out, I can try to come here and select, but I can't even select average temp because I usually have to select one as my vital metric. But I can't even select it. It's got a little circle and a slash. Let me do anything. What I need to get this to work like the way I want is run this search. I'm going to go back to the search here. Run this search and have a by in here. Say by series. Now you can go back to the M preview and see, oh, it's not series, it's serial. I need to go change that. But you can come back here and see the data. Figure out what you want it to be by. Let's say search here, because I always run it here, not series, but serial. I'm going to rerun this search. And now I'll have the serial number and the time with the value. And that's what I needed. So if I come back into here, by serial, I'll be able to run this search again. This time it's going to give me, because down here with entity matching fields, it didn't give me a message saying, hey, you've done a by. If you want this to work, you're going to need to select what serial is. And you're going to match it with the fields that we created for that, entity type. Now I see pod and node in here. I'm not sure, why that's showing up, but I have entity name. Actually, I wonder if I put serial. I am now curious. Serial, there's no matches. I'll have to look more into, select an alias. So this is an alias. If I click this out, that's why, because I probably, created an alias for the others. So I'm going to put entity name in here. But it has that, because entity name, if I were to go back and look at how I created my search, should have the serial name. Now, when I when I click save, it may give me another error message. Yep, because I haven't selected a vital metric. So come over here and select vital metric. I can actually select it this time. Now I'm going to click save. Give it a few seconds. Cue up some music or something. There we go. Now I've actually was able to save this. If I click dismiss and look at it here for the Meraki sensor title or type, you can see entity count, and now I have a vital metric. So let's go ahead and, you know what, I'll open this up in a new window. Refresh this by opening a new window, and once it brings in all the information here, we should see, yeah, I've got a chart here. And I've actually got information when I click on Meraki sensors. I have that vital metric at the top. And I have it for each entity, which you can see here. I use entity name, which I knew was the same thing as my serial number. So that will work. Well, you know what? I just thought about it. I probably could have, when I did the discovery search, I didn't actually bring serial over. So maybe I should have brought serial over. You can go rewatch that video. But when yeah, I didn't actually associate serial with anything, and maybe I should have. Now would I had to hear serial? That's something to play with. But I made it work anyway here. I could have used entity title, but also as I have that serial number mapped to entity name. Let's add some more. I need more than temperature. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to click edit again for that Meraki sensor entity type. And I'm going to open up vital metrics. Let's add another one. What do I want to add? Well, that's where you can look at, in preview, look at the data that's there, or we can see the M catalog, the values metrics of the different values for the metric names inside of this index and go, okay, I need to know maybe indoor air quality score is going to be my next one. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over to my search over here. I'm good with, maybe I just want the average. Or, if I need to, I can make this max. You decide how you want to visualize this data or what makes sense for your data set. I'm going to rerun this search and make sure it works. And once it comes up and gives me some values, for me, I can copy this search. Come over here. You don't have to give it a name at first. You can expand and plug in your search there and run it. We are going to have to give this a name. So I'm going to say average. And if you want to do AVG, and this is all just preferences on you and your team, I can come in here and copy that again even. Maybe I want to just say indoor air quality. Average indoor air quality. I've got it up here. Maybe I don't need any kind of symbol behind here. I was thinking average in temp and Fahrenheit. Or like I said, I can do the Celsius as well. It's got a save button here. I can open this up again. I need to open it up again because when I put that in there, it's got an exclamation point here saying, hey, it's not valid. Go check that out. I ran the search. I didn't run the search. I ran the search. I have 0 entities matched because I'm not doing any kind of entity matching down here. I've got serial because of the by serial. And once I come over here, I'm going to say entity name again and rerun this. Now it should give me 1 entity matched. I will say let me show more here on SPL search calculations. There is good information right here. Make sure your search results contain _time. And that's why I couldn't have this search, not have this span auto. I could not have it like this. Could I put _time here? I wonder. No, you can't. Because we are dealing with mstats command. So I need that span. I mean, I guess I could have done time chart below it. Yeah, I could have probably done a time chart and maybe done it that way, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to say span equals auto because that's going to give me the information I need. If you really don't know how to build an mstats search like this, another way, and I'll show it here real quick, is we could have opened up the analytics tab. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. We could have went and found that data. So I could have said add new filter, Meraki metrics. I'm going to back up and show you one little neat thing with this. I'm going to hit cancel. Down at the bottom here, this data set is reliant on the last 15 minutes. So I've seen it where I didn't see any data and I was trying to figure out why. And I happened to look down there. I could say, hey, last hour, show me all of the values that are metric names of values, all this information that is available. So now I'm going to say index filter, Meraki, apply. I'm only going to see the Meraki related information, then air quality score. I can now get me a chart here for air quality score. Let's split by serial, apply. Now I have this split by serial. Then I could say, hey, open this up and search. So there is, I could do the span 10 seconds. And I bet you I don't really need all of this, like this bottom part here. I don't really need all of this. I mean, it'll probably work, but I don't want the top 5. I can delete this. And I'm also going to have to delete this pre-stats. So that's where I would have to go through and go, is it better, more efficient? It's other things that I will have to learn as well with you. But, because if I run this right now, I don't think with the pre-stats, it's going to give me the information that I want. I need to get rid of that, and it's going to give me the information I want. So I can literally copy this over. And then it said 10 seconds. This will probably change depending on how far back I look at the data. And you can put it on auto if you really just don't know. For some reason, it sticks in my mind that auto is not the best way of doing this, and I'd have to go research that and figure out why. But anyway, that was just a real quick, how can I create an mstats, get a vital metric. I'm going to go ahead and close. Go ahead and close this up. I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Get back to my entity type here and adding that average indoor air quality. Another reason why I was wanting to show you more here, optionally included field. Okay, if you search, and I'm going to highlight it here, on log data, prepend the word search to the search string. Basically, if you're not doing, I'd have to look at T-stats. If you're not doing the M-stats, if you're not looking at metrics data, and you're just wanting to do index equals, you're going to have to start it out with search. I don't remember if you have to have the pipe in there or not. That may be something I'll have to. I've had this problem on a customer site and literally hit show more, and I went, oh, I got to start the search with the search. So just a heads up. All right, show less. I ran it. I've got one entity. I've got a way to match the fields. And now I can hit save, which it will save. I can add another one just for this video. Let's say battery. I mean, that seems like a vital metric if it's running out of battery. Let's go back over to entity management. Let's add another one. I'm going to expand this, type my search. Got ahead of myself. I'll put it up here. I'll say, let's say max. Or what do I want to say here? I hit the space, I hit the enter key. Yeah, we'll say max. Max. Battery. Or wait a minute. Maybe I want to say current. Oh, let's get fancy. Yeah, whatever whatever you think represents the data well. And what I'm going to do is not average, right? So I'm going to replace this indoor quality, and I want to say, I can say max, say last. Nope. Do max. There we go. So what it should I do wrong? Minutes. Oh, wait a minute. 4 hours. All right, you all are probably seeing what I'm doing wrong here. I've done something wrong. You know what? Do this. Go over here, add new filter, turn that off. Meraki, apply. The humidity, indoor. I'm not seeing max battery there. Interesting. Noise, indoor quality. The data's there, right? Oh, last 24 hours. That's why. So this data, and that's where the span auto comes in handy, is if I type in max, it should be there. If I type in last isn't going to work. We can go look at MStats, but I can say max and see what the last value was or the maximum value is over the last 24 hours. Maybe I don't want max, maybe I want minimum. I'm seeing what the minimum is. I mean, this is where you're going to have to play with that data. But here I will this, then add that into here. Now it's going to say the last hour run. May not grab that. No results found. The last hour. So I will look into that some more. And maybe there's something else I'll need to do to make sure there is data showing up there. Yeah, sure. Now I'm going to definitely have to look that up. Because it's wanting me to see. I can hit save, add a matching field. I can say serial because I know that's going to be there. Then I'm going to say entity name. I will close that, save. And it should save without any errors. Now, it's saying I'm not going to have any data. And what will probably happen is it won't show up anything in the vital metrics. So if I actually come back over here to entity overview and go back, then click on and refresh this. I could have probably just hit the refresh button. It's going to have NA because it's not meeting that time. So if I take this and let's say presets, say last 4 hours, still nothing there. Last 24 hours. Now it has a current battery percentage. That may be something I need to look into, see if there is a way to make that more persistent. Never really thought about that before. So, I've got some homework to do. But, hopefully you've seen how easy it is to not only, I'll put this in there as well, not only to go in there and add new metrics. So, image, search works. Not, add different metrics. I'm only going to put this the last hour because that's what the vital metrics is doing right now. And that's, like I said, something I'm into. Yeah, not only where to find the data, but to come in and actually create another vital metric. And I don't know how many that your mileage may vary. How many we really want to add in here? Search message here, entity name. I actually want to kill this. I'm going to that, but I want this to be. Now I got to remember how I got the average. I don't remember how I actually got the little circle in front of there. I think there's a shortcut, or I forgot how I did it. I'll just put C for now. Save, click save, and then save. Look, I've got another vital metric that will be at the top of my entity, and then it will actually be this in there for each one of my entities as a separate, and it will be a different measurement. We are looking at these entity types, and we are looking at the vital metrics. The very top, which it's not going to be represented well here, the very top is going to be the average of all of them, while the one that's down here, the one I have is it's the average for just this serial or host. If I back up and go to the Unix and Linux add-on, this is going to be the average across all of your entities for this entity type, while down here you're going to see just the individual. I need to get rid of this one. I don't even have this server running anymore. But the individual one, and I'm not sure what's going on, why it does not like my containers and it grabs the IP address. Something I got to go through one day and troubleshoot. But here I can even go to my pods, which I know are all active, and you can see down here, active, and then the average CPU just for this device. With that, the next video will probably be go more into how do I build drill down. I click on one of these pod names, host names, whatever. How do I get over here to a dashboard to be able to, look at more information in this format? How do I create this dashboard? That will be another video for another day. I'll go in and show you how to do this. That, hope this has been helpful, and happy spelunking.